Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be making a Vietnamese noodle bowl with grilled pork. I'm going to first start off by showing you how I'm going to make the marinated seasoning for the pork, so we can let that set aside and let the pork absorb the seasonings that we're going to put into it. And then we're going to make the noodles and then the garnishes and vegetables that will go with this noodle bowl. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with our seasonings and the ingredients that we'll need to make our seasoning for the pork. So we're going to start off with some brown sugar, some fish sauce. We have some light soy sauce. We're going to grate some garlic. Now you can put this in a food processor and blend it in that way. I'm going to do everything by hand, step by step, gradually. I'm going to now put a chopped shallot into the ingredients. So I'm just going to chop it up nice and fine and making sure that all the pieces are quite small. And I'm now going to chop up a lemongrass, about this amount, and I'm going to finely chop it small, and then I'm going to add it into the sauce. Once I have the lemongrass put into the sauce, I have pre-washed and sliced my pork. I've done it quite thin. The thinner the better, because then all the ingredients can nicely absorb into the pork, and then it's going to be quick and easy to cook when we're needing to do that step. So we're going to finish off this step, and then we're going to go on to our next step, which I will show you what we'll do. Now that I have the pork marinating in the seasoning, I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to make the pickled vegetables that will be the side dressing for these vermicelli Vietnamese bowl. So I'm going to start off with some hot water. So I boiled some hot water, and then I have some sugar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this around to make sure it's fully dissolved into the hot water, and then I'm going to add some white rice vinegar. Make sure that this is nicely mixed in. And once I have this fully blended, I'm going to pickle some carrots and some cucumber. Now you can do them all in one dish, or what you can do is you can have two separate containers and pickle them separate. So what I've done is I've sliced some carrots nice and thin. You want to make sure they're quite thin. You can use a shredder. I've just cut them sliced by hand, and then I've done the same for the cucumber. So I'm going to use two separate bowls. I'm going to use one for my cucumber. So I'm just going to put that amount into the bowl, and then I'm going to get another bowl for my carrots, and then I'm going to put the pickled dressing on top of the cucumber, and I want to make sure I press down so that all of the cucumbers are inside of the liquids so that it can take in all of the moisture. So then for this one, I'm going to put all my carrots into this ingredient. So there's all our carrots, and it's just going to pickle it for us so that it's all in the liquids, and make sure that the carrots are nicely covered. And then we're just going to rest that aside as well with our cucumbers, and then when we need them, we'll use them. So now I'm going to go on to my next step, and that's going to be, I boiled a kettle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak my vermicelli noodles inside the hot water for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to drain it and set it aside for when I need those as well. So now that we have prepared the garnishes, we have some cilantro, some lime, some mint leaves. We're now going to go on to our next step. So I now have my pork set aside, seasoned. I have my pickled carrots and cucumber soaking. I have my garnishes now completed for the bowl, and I have my vermicelli noodles soaking in its hot water. So my last step before I start to grill the pork is I'm going to create the sauce that's going to go on top of the bowl once it's fully put together. So the sauce that I'm going to be putting together is very simple. So I'm just going to put, I have some hot water, and I'm going to add some sugar to it. I'm going to mix this around. It's nicely mixed. I'm going to add some fish sauce to it. Some lime juice. And I have some red chili flakes that I'm just going to add into it as well. And then I'm going to stir that around. And then I'm just going to set that aside for when I need it at the end. The pork has been sitting for about an hour now in its sauce, and it's now ready to start grilling. So you can grill this on the outside on a barbecue, or you can do it on an inside grill. So we're just going to start adding our pieces of pork onto our grill. So we now have all of our pork nicely grilling. It's nice and full of spices and flavors. And I'm going to make sure it's nicely crisp on all sides so that it's a nice texture while we're eating it. So we're just going to continue adding the rest of our pork. And then once we are finished grilling it, I'm going to prepare the bowl with the vermicelli, and then we're going to put the pork onto it and then garnish it with the items that I've shown you that I've prepared earlier on. Now I'm just going to, after I grill my pork, I'm just going to roast some peanuts. That's going to be another garnish for on top of this dish. So we're going to continue grilling the pork, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to complete this recipe. The pork has been grilling for about 10-15 minutes, and it's now complete. It's nicely cooked on all sides of the pork. It has a nice grill on each side, and now we're ready to prepare our bowl. So we have a nice sized bowl, and what we're going to do is we prepared the vermicelli noodles, so they are nice and cooked. They're still warm, which is nice. So I had them in some boiling hot water, and I just I let them cool down a little bit, and then I am ready to serve them. So we're just going to fill the bowl with the vermicelli, and then we're going to get some pork and just rest it off to the side as so. And then we are going to garnish it. We have some nice fresh lettuce. We have the pickled vegetables that we prepared earlier. So we have some of the carrots. So we're just going to set those off to the side. And then we have our cucumber that we also pickled. So we're just going to set those onto the side as well. We have some fresh cilantro. We're just going to garnish that on top. And we also have some fresh mint, and we're going to put a couple of leaves of the mint. And then I roasted the peanuts, so we're just going to garnish that as well, just off to the side. And then that's how it turned out. So it's nice and healthy. And then once we're ready to eat it, we have our sauce that we're going to put on top, and it's now complete. If you like this recipe and you want to see more like this, please subscribe to our channel. Hit that share, like, and that bell notification.